Hello, welcome to Ra El Bol. I'm a professional astrologer and holistic wellness practitioner. Thank you so much for choosing to spend these precious minutes of your time with me today. This is the monthly general astrology overview for April 2024. I'm your host and guide, Ifeymerael. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to support this channel. I'm so grateful for your thoughtful assistance. The month of April is dominated by a major astrological event, a medium-sized astrological event, and a rare super new moon solar eclipse. The key signs in focus are Pisces, Aries, Taurus, and Aquarius. Let's quickly set the stage with three key background phenomena first. Then we'll turn into April's epic event, the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. Next, we'll look at the new moon solar eclipse on the 8th, followed by the Mars-Saturn conjunction on the 10th. We'll then look at the Scorpio full moon and note Mars' powerful exit and emergence into the fullness of his power at the end of the month. Finally, we'll talk about another very special Mercury cazimi on April 11. So let's dive into the astrological background. The first key background phenomenon we'll discuss is Mercury retrograde. Mercury goes retrograde on the 1st and remains retrograde until the 25th. Mercury rules thought, communication, and mobility. In general, retrograde periods are not good times for initiating new actions or projects or making big purchase decisions. They're famous for breakdowns in electronics and communications and for technical errors. However, they're excellent for revisiting, re-strategizing, rethinking, rewriting, redeveloping, and so on. Mercury has his conjunction with the Sun on the 11th. That conjunction occurs several times each year. We'll discuss that event later in the video because there is an important window period to know on the 11th. The second key background phenomenon are the wounded feminine archetypes. Two wounded feminine archetypes this month are activated. One is stimulated by Mercury retrograde in Aries. The same day, Aries ruler Mars conjuncts Saturn in spiritual, diffuse, fantastical, illusory, amorphous, and transcendental Pisces. The other feminine archetype is blessed by both Uranus and Jupiter in peace-loving and sensorial Taurus on both sides of that epic conjunction day, April 20. We'll explore both of those wounded feminine archetypes a little more later. The third key background phenomenon for April are the Venusian energies. Venus is activated by a powerful connection in Pisces, where she's in her exaltation. She conjuncts Pisces' modern ruler, Neptune, there. As I've pointed out, the traditional ruler of Pisces, Jupiter, is also being strongly activated this month. April's a big month for Piscean energies. Think spirituality, compassion, unity, but also remember the shadow sides, illusion, confusion, and delusion. Venus enters Aries on the 4th of April, a sign where she's in her detriment. However, some wonderful things are elsewhere at work that support Venus's compromised power here in Aries. First, her home sign Taurus is occupied by the great benefic, Jupiter. Second, she makes a wonderful opportunity presentation aspect with Pluto on the 6th of April, called a sextile. She conjuncts the North Node on the 17th and conjuncts Mercury on the 19th. The Sun enters Venus' home sign of Taurus on the 19th, and she conjuncts Chiron on the 21st. Last, she joins the Sun in Taurus on the 29th. Now that we've looked at the three key background phenomena, let's talk about April's epic event, the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in Taurus. This is a phenomenon astrologers have been discussing for years, Jupiter conjunct Uranus in Taurus at 22 degrees on the 20th. Although this conjunction happens about every 14 years, it only happens in Taurus about once every 81 to 84 years. It skips signs for 6 to 7 centuries after a cycle of roughly 600 to 800 years or so. The current cycle began in 1858 and ends in 2604. So with this conjunction, we're talking about the great benefic Jupiter, the god of luck, expansion, opportunity, higher understanding, philosophy, spirituality, and wisdom, uniting in the most powerful aspect there is, a conjunction with the sky god, Uranus. Uranus is novelty, lightning downloads, genius insights, innovation, rebellion, originality, and is known for his out-of-the-blue shock and surprise. With Jupiter's power charging up his qualities, we might expect tectonic events. Earthquakes and explosions, both figurative and literal, fall into this description. This conjunction occurs, thankfully, in peace-loving, sensorial Taurus, who rules the things we value and which sustain, nurture, support, and please us: food, agriculture, money, currency, love, beauty, luxuries, and pleasure. We can expect this period of time, perhaps lasting a few weeks at a minimum, to generate or see powerful new innovations, dramatic expansions, and auspicious new opportunities in the Taurean fields I just mentioned. On the personal level, you'll want to know which house this transit falls in. Unless you're an adolescent, it's highly unlikely you'll ever experience this profound transformative aspect again. For most of the month, this conjunction's impact is colored by Mercury retrograde, so we can expect qualities of revisitation, return of past persons, places, or things, rethinking, re-strategizing, rewriting, and so on. Also coloring this conjunction are some activations with Black Moon Lilith, which is an astrological calculation element reflecting the moon's orbital apogee, its furthest point from the Earth. Lilith is complex, but she represents our inner wounds relating to alienation, some say our shame and outcast selves. She also is a tremendous source of potent creativity and a kind of fierce and dark originality. We might say she understands her sovereignty with a formidable sense of entitlement. Those qualities instantly call to mind goddesses like Sekhmet and Kali Mata. Uranus trines this Lilith dark mother archetype on the 12th, and Jupiter trines her on the 24th. April's a big month for Lilith, as well as for the Piscean energies and archetypes, which enfold Jupiter, Venus, and Neptune. Sadly, a tense Martian complication is brought into the mix on the day of the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, the 20th. We'll want to be vigilant to our inner experience around this time, as it might relate to feeling alienated and rejected, and be particularly careful not to take rash, impulsive, or insensitive actions. Uranus rules explosions, literal and figurative, external and internal. We will likely witness explosive bursts of anger on this day at the collective or personal level, or both. And it may well have a distinctly feminine flavor or relate to grievances rooted in rejection or exile, so to speak. The last aspect coloring this major conjunction is the Scorpio full moon, 4 degrees of Scorpio on the 23rd. The moon is debilitated in her fall in Scorpio. It's generally not an ideal time to initiate anything. However, a full moonation in Scorpio is ideal for deep inner work and exploration, as well as release and renewal. Meditation, shamanic work, and so on are strongly supported. Let's now back up 12 days and peer into the second week of April, which hosts the second major event of the month, the total solar eclipse in Aries conjunct Chiron. On April 8 at 11:20 a.m. Pacific Daily Time, we had a total solar eclipse at 19 degrees 23 minutes Aries. This is also a lunar orbital perigee, which means the moon is at her closest or nearly closest point to the Earth. Eclipses, of course, bring fated events and typically have an impact period lasting several weeks on either side. Solar eclipses are new moons, and new moons are about new beginnings and initiations and high potential periods for intuition, psychic vision, and internal journeys. In Aries, we can expect high levels of motivation, self-assertion, energy, passion, and ambition. But beware Aries' shadow aspects: impulsivity, aggression, frustration, and insensitivity. With Chiron joining the sun and moon here in a conjunction, we might expect a salt in the wound kind of dynamic. This cluster of events points to an intensification or inflammation of our internal injuries pertinent to the house where Aries lands in our natal charts. But the Aries new moon solar eclipse also holds the promise of powerful catharsis, healing, rejuvenation, and revitalization. Chiron is the third asteroid planet activated this month, which holds the energies of our wounds along with Lilith and Eris. Unlike Lilith, known for her creativity and independence, and Eris, known best for her aggression and vengeance, Chiron is a healer and sage, a wisdom keeper and teacher. We might be strongly motivated towards new ventures. In line with Chiron's talents, we might experience powerful healings of our internal wounds, especially if we engage in meditation, scrying, or other spiritual ceremony or psychic practices. We might find new ways to release our aggression, frustration, and achieve new states of empowered self-transcendence. The planetoid Eris, known for vengeance-seeking, creating strife and chaos through manipulation and violence, conjuncts with retrograding Mercury at 24 degrees 44 minutes Aries on the 8th, the same day the solar eclipse conjuncts Chiron. Mercury rules thinking, communication, and mobility, as I've said. We can easily conceive of particularly vindictive and disparaging kinds of communications occurring on this day. As a goddess of war, we can also imagine some very unhappy scenarios involving transportation, particularly local and ground transportation. With Mercury in retrograde, this very possibly suggests a return, redo, or relaunch of some kind. With this astrological energy blend in mind, let's now reconsider what we know about the astrological context in effect in the days and weeks surrounding the Aries new supermoon conjunct Chiron. Venus meets with Neptune in Pisces on the 3rd of April, a highly spiritual and loving and mystical connection. She enters Aries the following day, the 4th, bringing her aesthetic powers and love to the realm of the self, our actions and opportunities. Also on the 4th, the sun conjuncts the North Node in Aries at 16 degrees. That occurs about every 345 days, so almost once a year. This is a powerful day of recharging our forward momentum, revitalizing our sense of who we are, what we wish to accomplish, and who we wish to become. On the 6th of April, Venus harmonizes with the god of power, control, death, rebirth, and transformation in the early degrees of community-minded, altruistic, technological, and innovative Aquarius, where he, Pluto, essentially will remain for a generation. This suggests a revolution and amplification of our aesthetic values as they relate to the self and our destiny. We could feel strongly attracted to pursuits that are transformative for the community. Or if Venus is strong in our charts, we might sense the community drawn to us or our projects and objectives. All of this is good and well-placed conditioning for us because 2 days after the new moon, the new supermoon, two intense and often challenging energies combine. Mars conjunct Saturn. This is the conjunction that occurs roughly every 2 years. I refer to it as a medium-sized astro event. It happens on the 10th at 14 degrees 40 minutes Pisces. The last 3 conjunctions of Mars and Saturn in Pisces were in 1966, 1994, and 1996. In those years, we saw big, bold careers and projects undertaken by individuals who transformed the world or world culture. Indira Gandhi was elected Prime Minister of India. The National Organization for Women was founded. Nelson Mandela became the South African president. Jeff Bezos founded Amazon, and Quentin Tarantino's film career was launched. This conjunction of Mars and Saturn marks ambitious people seeking to transcend limiting structures and blaze new trails that are more inclusive. If it's a diversity and decentralization transit, and it occurs in the year of the wood dragon, which is very much about growth and development. 2 additional comments apropos to this Mars-Saturn conjunction. First, on the 30th of April, Mars enters Aries, where he's in the fullness of his power. It's his home sign. Second, his entry into Aries follows on a Scorpio full moon on the 23rd. This full moon precedes Mars' entry into Aries by only 7 days, and Mars co-rules Scorpio with Pluto. So we're looking at a truly super-powered Mars, reconditioned by his joinder with Saturn and recently cathartically illumined by the Scorpio moon. 3 important notes here for Tauruses, for fire signs, and the cardinal signs. For most Tauruses, this will speak to a highly energized 12th house of the unconscious and endings, tremendously powerful for spiritual work and creative affairs of every kind. If your chart has strong Aries, Cancer, Libra, or Capricorn, the month of May will have some challenges and decision points for you. If your chart has strong Fieries, that is Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, the month of May will hold some very positive energetic infusions and uplifts for you. Let's note that one day after the Mars-Saturn conjunction, retrograding Mercury in Aries forms a conjunction with the Sun, which is called a cazimi. So let's talk about this Mercury retrograde and revisit how he/she might intersect with the other April astrological anomalies and aspects. As I said, the Mercury cazimi occurs on the 11th. It happens at 22 degrees, 32 minutes Aries. A planet conjuncting the Sun is called a cazimi. Cazimis are like plugging into a nuclear furnace. Planets emerge from the experience irradiated, revitalized, and power enhanced. Mercury cazimi means our thinking, communication, and mobility are purged, recharged, and renewed. Some say this is like the Sun planting a seed with the god of communication and mobility. Mercury cazimis happen a few times each year. Only 6 weeks ago, we had a double cazimi and a triple conjunction, Saturn, Sun, and Mercury on February 28 at 10 degrees of Pisces. This cazimi occurs one day after Mars and Saturn conjoin in Pisces at roughly 15 degrees. Whatever was conceived or mentally gestating or set into motion at the end of February could be reimagined, reunderstood, recommunicated, or remobilized now with mercurial flair and intellect. We might discover a renewed energy and ambition about something that came into focus for us at the end of February. Since Mercury is retrograde now, we should be especially careful to double and triple check our facts before making bold, momentous decisions. However, for all Mercury cazimis, it's excellent advice to pay attention to the short window of perspicacity, as I like to call it, that opens when Mercury is tightly conjunct the Sun, because we often have very special magical downloads, epiphanies, and insights during those windows. On the 11th, that window is, using a 17-degree orb, 11:58 a.m. Pacific Daily Time through 8 p.m. Pacific Daily Time. The very heart of that window is at 22 degrees and 32 minutes of Aries. Remember, this cazimi is preceded not only by the Mars-Saturn conjunction on the 8th, but also by the Mercury-Eris conjunction on the same day at roughly 25 degrees of Aries. Use caution in all matters of judgment where aggression or hostility may lurk, and in matters of local transportation. So that wraps up my general astrology overview for April 2024. It's an intensely fiery and Aryan month, a month of potent new beginnings that closes with a renewed and re-equipped Mars marching into an Aryan house that has been radically renovated and primed for his return. But April is not pure testosterone. It's heavily divine feminine and Venusian. And perhaps most remarkably, it's a game changer, new generational cycle for the Titan planets Jupiter and Uranus, which is extremely significant in its own right. We have to see that powerful conjunction, Jupiter-Uranus, in the frame of what Pluto has been up to in recent years, changing signs from Capricorn to Aquarius, the sign in which he fully stabilizes this fall. Last, we should quickly note that both Saturn and Neptune are on their way out of Pisces. Saturn exits in February 2026, Neptune in March 2025. All of this sets up the immensely exciting and promising Gate of the Fire Horse configuration, which I'll continue to describe in my videos as we move forward. If you need to know how to discover where your houses fall within your natal chart, you can visit any search engine site and type free natal astrology chart. You'll have to key in your birthday and time if you know it and your place of birth. I recommend choosing the Placidus or whole sign house system. If given a choice, I'd start with tropical Western astrology rather than Vedic or sidereal. Or you can visit my site listed in the description below if you'd like your chart prepared by a professional astrologer such as myself. This video has provided some broad and generalized astrological advice. If you'd like customized and focused advice about a particular event or undertaking, contact me using the information below and you can place an order on my site. In addition to natal chart and electional chart services, I also provide Sophianic spirituality, higher self activations, and general consultations for spirituality, health and wellness, and career. You can also schedule time for a one-to-one consultation with me directly on my site. If you're in the Los Angeles area, please take a look at the online group I organize, the Los Angeles Shamanism Meetup Group. Last but not least, if you're interested in participating in a Sophia Circle journey, I'm a certified Sophia Circle journey leader who conducts both live in the LA area and online virtual circles. Instructions for joining can be found on my site on the services page. Thank you again for spending your time with me today. Ra El.